Welcome back into another episode of The Dig. I'm Jessica Coody and excited to welcome back Brennan Hagar, assistant coach for Husker Volleyball. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be back.
Can't believe it's already conference season. We were just chatting. It seems like you've been playing a while, but then again, it seems like it went so fast.
It was fast and furious, and yeah, today definitely feels like we've been through like 4 months of season.
Perfect through the non-con, which I know was a goal for this team, but it's not easy. As much as sometimes it looks easy what this team is doing, it's not easy to especially with the challenging non-conference schedule that this program has year in and year out. Not an easy task, but one of the goals checked off the list.
Yes, yeah. It was, we always talk about like we need to celebrate every win. Like winning is so hard nowadays. I mean, there's the transfer portal, there's a lot of really, really good players. Like the club scene is really helped in that area. So it's not just like 2 or 3 teams anymore. It's honestly like a true top 25, and even like those unranked teams are still applying a lot of pressure.
How important is that? Because when you talk about a team that the goal coming in is to compete for a national title, so that's a long ways away, but to learn to celebrate wins along the way, how important is that?
It's huge. I think it was really important that Danny had kind of brought a sense of like not wanting to feel relieved after a win, but like really celebrate that. And that I think that just carries over an everlasting like joy for the sport, and it like makes the game days like more fun as opposed to, oh gosh, well, we're like not wanting to play Kentucky or whoever it could be just because it's like going to be a tough opponent. Like I hope that we win, not like we're going to. And having that shift in mindset, I think has been really, really huge for this team.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go back to Arizona. And it was one of those ones where Danny, after the game, was talking about how the offense really good, defense maybe not as good, and the block. And you were just chatting about that with John Baylor on his way out. Tell us about that. Just kind of what were the things you saw on film that where and how the block can improve?
Yeah, it's like little things of us as a coaching staff can be much, much better in terms of like the preparation for any team. And I think that we saw that we had so much success early on when we played like Stanford and Pitt, just because we had prepped them a lot. And it felt like we maybe hadn't done as good of a job in that area. And so like little cues, setter location, like where they are at on the floor was huge, like posture of the setter. I felt like for me personally, I honestly didn't talk enough with Andy and Becca, just like eyes on the setter early. And so when that isn't happening and your eyes are late, that's like the first thing in the chain of like the steps to performing and setting up a great block. And so gathering all of that information late set up not a great block and allowed for Wilson, for Arizona, to have a lot of success. Even when we know like the ball's going to her, if your eyes are late, it honestly like doesn't help your body and like your hand positioning and all of that. So we're going to be much better in that area.
What about the timing too? Because it's a lot of times if you've got 2 people coming, the timing is crucial, right? I mean, how do you work on that and fix that?
It's a lot of, we approach it with like having a sense of calm under stress. And so even before the ball is set, it's how are Becca, Andy, Manaia, Kenna setting up themselves before the ball is set. So it's like, are they standing up? Is their base too wide? Where are their eyes? Where are they looking? And if that isn't consistent throughout the match and they're kind of like frantic or panicked or they're taking negative steps before anything has ever happened, it doesn't allow for a great block to be set or our defense to function.
And it's not just the middle blockers too, it's also the timing with the hitters, right?
For sure, yes. Yeah, it's just even like the pin blockers, if we aren't looking at the right thing, like set locations all over, if we're not getting our eyes on the ball and then on the attacker, depending if it's an in-system or an out-of-system set, it's just really, really hard to know where you're setting up because we aren't looking at the right things. So I think like going into this week, we've already prepped a lot of Michigan early on yesterday, and so we were much better from a blocking standpoint from like what we had done. So it's good to know that that's what this team needs, and that as a coaching staff, like we're going to keep pushing that forward.
Does that have something to do too with the tips to the donut, the blocking, or what was the issue there? That was also something that I know Coach Danny brought up as well.
Yeah, I think it was just blocking and defense. There just wasn't a sense of urgency it just kind of felt like we weren't all there, and whatever that it contributed to, don't really know. And I think it's just also, could be maybe lack of prep of what we had done or didn't do. And so I think block being formed, and also defensively, you have to be looking at the right things too. Because there's a lot of information that you can get from you can tell if this set is off or if it's tight or what the hitter looks like before they even hit the ball. Are they approaching slow? Are they approaching fast? Are they too early? Are they too late? And so there's little cues like that that can also help with getting that tip. But I didn't feel like we had a great defensive match as a whole. So that has been a main focus for us this week.
It's amazing, from the outside and even maybe from the casual viewer, it's oh, you got a sweep, another sweep, and you dominated. But for this team, the standard's just different. And it seems like they embrace that too. Hey, we won handily, but it wasn't up to par for what we expect from ourselves too.
Yeah, and I think that's just, you need games like this, honestly, where, maybe Arizona doesn't have the number of wins as other teams, but they have really talented players on their team. Jordan was a great player. There was a few other club kids that some of our girls had played club with that were also highly recruited. So it's when you're able to have a team expose any type of weakness for you, it's just win or lose. Those are learning opportunities and only help build our strength for the end of the season.
Okay, so I want to go back to the Creighton match with you as well, because that was one thing I know that was talked about too, that Creighton really tried to take the middles out of it. What were some of the things that you learned too, just even watching that film, and some of the things that need to happen for if teams try to take Becca and Andy out of it in the future? Because you got to think their teams are going to try to do that, right?
Yes, yeah. I think it was just, we had started to see a few things later in the set of where the middles were prep stepping to us in certain situations. And so it's just, I felt like we got married to one or two routes only. And that's kind of something that I tried to bring when Danny got hired, was hey, I think we need to really diversify the number of routes and how we approach to the ball, just to be able to open up more for them, but also for the pins as well. So it was just, we were staying really, really close in the same spot a lot of the time. And it's just, when we do that, it's really, really easy to defend. And it's not just us, it's anyone is. So it's we just need to keep Manaia, Kenna, Andy, Becca moving all over the front row, especially in the 6-2s and in the 5-1s as well.
So when you say routes, again, I try to tailor this to even maybe the casual viewer, like a football route. It's different kind of footwork,
yes,
and setting to get yourself open.
For sure.
And then then the communication there between the middles and Bergen to know what route you're running, I guess.
Yeah. It's just giving them that the best opportunity to honestly have so much space to be able to hit around or through. And so I felt like Creighton did a really, really good job of scouting us and kind of took that away in a sense. And then, we kind of made some adjustments going into the end of the fourth, fifth set. And then that ultimately led to us winning that match. But yeah, Creighton was a great team, is a great team. They're going to be really, really tough come December. So
the last time we were here, we talked about Andy serving, but I did want to talk to you about, now we've seen Rebecca get back there and do some big things. What's gone into her kind of process to be a weapon back there from the service line?
It was honestly something that Becca's been serving great in practice. Honestly, all the middles have pretty nice serves, so that's helpful, especially because they're nice and tall. They're able to contact the ball at a different height. And so, yeah, it was kind of right before the game had happened, Danny's I kind of feel like Becca might need to be ready to serve, because she's also a great defender too. Mm-hmm. So
is that the key? Is okay, yeah, well, you can serve, but is it how you can pass too?
I would say yes. It's also just like the toughness of your serve. Like, can you score points?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Becca's always really tried to take pride in every aspect of her game. You'll see she's a great out-of-system setter. I mean, she's a great beach player, so that also contributes to being a great server, a great defender. Obviously, she's a great blocker. So, yeah, it was just, you know, Danny's big on, well, if you've proven yourself and, like, can prove your skills that you can do, like, in a practice setting, you should be rewarded and given the opportunity to put it in a match. And so I think that was really cool that Becca's gotten to do that. And I don't think she's served since freshman year. Yeah, I think her freshman year was the last time.
How much do they love getting back there and serving? It seems like they
Becca
get pretty
loves it.
fired
Yeah,
up about it.
Becca loves it. Yeah.
Manaia Ogbechie, we've also seen more of her here in the last few matches. How have you seen her progress just since she stepped on campus in, June?
Yeah, I call her, she's a monster. She's like, teams are going to probably have to scout her. She is offensively and defensively well beyond her years. Like, I don't consider her a freshman. I really don't. I think her IQ, how she goes about the game, her intentionality, like every practice, her personality, it makes it so fun to like play with her. She would be someone that I would have wanted to play with. And so I think she's also just really learned a lot from Becca and Andy.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's just taking in as much information, and, you know, Kenna too, like they're both very unconditional, like first year players because they're so talented and just like their mindset going in is well beyond their years.
They're not intimidated.
No.
Not at all.
And even if they are, like, you really wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that do for them? I can't think of any better competition than going up against Becca and Andy in practice.
Yeah.
That's had to push them even more than you always see growth as a freshman, but then when you're facing that every single day, you have no choice but to get better every single day.
Yeah, and I kind of had a heart-to-heart with Ken and Manaia before, I think it was before the Creighton game. It's like, hey, we're about to enter Big Ten, Creighton, end of preseason. It's like your job is to now, we're shutting down Becca and Andy, like full force. And I think that that's made them better players because it's like proven to them that they can perform at like a high caliber level. And that's only going to better them in the long run. And it's also had to make Becca and Andy better in practice too, because they aren't just, oh, they're hitting against a freshman. It's like, no, they're really good, like really, really good. And so it's upping the level of competition in our gym. And if we're able to do that with all four middles, and my goal is to have like the best middle group in the country. And so I think that we're taking steps in that right direction where it's like 1 through 4, it doesn't matter who's in or who's not in, is we're like one unit and we're always like going to perform.
I think it's cool too because, you know, it can be where, hey, I want mine, but Andy and Rebecca for 3 years now they've shared the load very well, and they just play so well off of each other.
Yes.
And that's not always the case with teammates.
Yeah, I think it's just a really, really great culture that had been set like from Jaylen, just like everybody who has been a middle we're all celebrating and wanting the success for each other, whether it's practice, whether they get a shot like in a game, whether they're redshirting. It's like celebrating those little wins and just knowing that even if like I get blocked by them, it's like, oh, that's a great move. Like we've been working on that. It's knowing the strengths and like what everybody's working on, and then being able to celebrate and just have that really like cohesive bond amongst each other.
One of the things I wanted to talk with you about last time, we just ran out of time, but you just mentioned it. You've worked a lot with Jaylen last year and the last couple of years. And obviously he's fantastic. What are some of the things that you've learned from him? How important has his mentorship been to you?
I mean, I don't think I would be where I am right now without him, honestly. It's like every aspect. I think one of like the biggest things that he's taught me came last year, and no, it was 2 years ago. And it was like everybody wants to always fix the end result, like what happened at the very like we didn't get the kill, didn't get the block or whatever. And it's like, well, actually everything happened or that went wrong happens before that action had ever happened. So it's like what happens at the beginning of the chain to be able to help affect the end result. And so if the beginning of your chain is weak, how can you have the end of the chain be strong? And so that's been a huge mindset shift for me, because I honestly like never really thought about that in that way. And especially from a middle blocker position, how I was talking earlier, if your posture, your steps, or your eyes are late, it doesn't allow for you to have success in that area. And that's in every position. It's like setting, passers, serving specialists. Like, it doesn't matter if the beginning of your chain, whether it's like toss, footwork, how you're standing, isn't great, how is your end result going to be great? So that's been huge. I also think he's just really, really good at pushing the envelope of like making players great. And yeah, a lot of his verbiage is the same verbiage that I use. And I mean, it's made, like, when I go and play, it's made me better. And so I'm like, well, if it makes myself better and like the others around, like, I'm also going to be using that.
Yeah, fascinating. Well, another mentor to you just got a statue unveiled outside of the John Cook Arena, a John Cook statue. What'd you think of the statue?
We were kind of like joking about it. Like, the hair is the same hair that he had that day. Like, it's so well done. I can't remember. He gave credit to who had built the statue. But I was just kept looking at him like, this is insane. Like, it's so cool that, I've got to be like under someone who like has now a statue in Nebraska. It was a really, really cool ceremony. And I'm just so happy that he got to be there and all the people that were a part of it got to be there too.
We were joking last week with Lindsay that sometimes those statues don't look like the people, but they did a good, I mean, it does look like him.
Yes, yeah. It was, really well done.
Okay, so another thing that you are known for, you're kind of a coffee guy, and this team is a coffee team.
Yes,
And you guys have like, you're not on the road yet, but we won't be able to talk to you before you hit the road. You have like spaces. You were telling me for the couple of the football trips I'm going on where to hit up.
I know, yeah. So like when I was a GA, I think it was usually Macy and I, and then Lexi would go and to different shops. Like in Michigan, Harper kept talking like, oh my gosh, you guys have to go to Big B. And she's right. So when you're in Michigan, go to Big B. It's really, really good. I can never remember the names of the coffee shops. I just know like where they are, like walking distance. But yeah, love coffee. Yeah, especially local.
It's kind of a fun like bonding thing for this team outside. You know, you compete all the time, and then it's something that they get to do together. You know, outside of it is go find the cool local coffee shops.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What's your favorite, like, what's your go-to drink, your coffee drink?
So shout out Reactor. It's in Lincoln. Occasionally, depends on the day, like a white chocolate English toffee cold brew.
Wow.
Or it's an English toffee caramel cold brew. Yeah, it's so good.
And you're a coffee every day kind of guy.
Yep, gotta have the cold brew to be able to function.
Okay, well, let's going into Big Ten play. It's again in the midweek to Wednesday. How does that, first of all, change just the scheduling? I mean, we talked a little bit about the Tuesday match with Creighton, but having this Big Ten opener on a Wednesday night, what does that do to the scheduling of how this team approaches the week?
Yeah, I would say it's more normal. So for everybody that's a returner, we would have like a lot of Wednesday matches. The Creighton match was something that we had to adjust to. We had practice on a Sunday, and so we were able to have that day off, and then we'll have 2 full days of practice, and then we'll get to play a match. So that's been great. I think that it's a really, really good opportunity for the freshmen who kind of like maybe haven't gone through this yet, but did go through that Creighton match where it's very familiar to, okay, we get these 2 days of prep, gonna go hard, and then we're able to have that match and then practice and then a match on the weekend too.
How does the mindset shift now that you go into Big Ten play?
It's every game counts, and it's no joke now. So we're really taking those games where we are challenged, and it's like, okay, this is a learning opportunity, and being able to figure out that fine line between, okay, is the success now worth where you're at, or is it worth like where we're going to get to. And so it's really taking like, you can't overlook a match, and you're able to learn a lot about yourselves within every team because the Big Ten is so strong, and Michigan's a great team. They have a great outside who's going to give us a lot of fits. She gave us a lot of fits last year. And so I think it's a really, really good opportunity to go up against a great team that's really well coached.
Safe to say you guys have different goals. I know you set for each match. Safe to say is the defense and blocking one of the goals for this one going into Michigan?
It definitely is, yes.
How do you guys approach that? Just, you don't have to give specifics, but it's just a different way to challenge the team, right? I mean, how do you figure out what kind of goals you want to set for each match?
Yeah, so it's, honestly, before every match, Danny's kind of brought this new thing where we set mini goals like for the game and just kind of giving like a little bit of guidance, and I think that kind of helps with like a game plan, and also like remembering our scout. And so it's just like a really good like healthy reminder. We see if we check off. We set like 3 or 4 goals, I think. Usually there's like a passing one, and defense will definitely be a focus this week. But it's kind of like on the spot, and also comes from the girls. And so I think that's really cool to also kind of meet them like where they're at and see what their headspace is, and know that, okay, well, this is like what they're thinking, and usually it aligns with kind of like what we've been focusing on. And so I think it's a really, really cool bridge between coach and player to be able to have that space where it's collaborative right before the match, everybody's kind of on the same page, and then we're able to reflect immediately after.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, so biggest keys against Michigan?
They run a lot of quick. So this is probably the team that I think we match up really well with in terms of the amount of times that the middle gets set. They run 6-2, so setter's always in the back row. They have a really, really good outside. The sets are fast, so that's going to be something that's new and challenging. I think this might be the fastest offense that we'll see, or like one of the fastest this year. So that'll be a really good test for us defensively and blocking, just to make sure, because teams are going to try to beat us with speed to make us undisciplined. And so it's like, can we have really, really good eye work, footwork, look at the right things to put ourselves in a really good spot to be able to slow them down.
We like to play fast too, right?
Try to, yes.
So what is that? How does that matchup look like when it's like, hey, speed on speed?
They go faster than us. So
Wow.
it's definitely an adjustment. So it's like we are used to playing consistently fast like all the time. But yeah, it's when it's faster than us is usually when either we play really good, or maybe, we have to make some in-game adjustments, refocus. Yeah.
Should be a good match though, right?
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck on Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you.
Brennan Hagar again with us here on The Dig. Emeritus is proud to power The Dig and all of Husker women's sports. Thanks for listening and watching. And as always, make sure you subscribe and like wherever you listen to never miss an episode right here on the Huskers Radio Network podcast.